Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Outlook. I'm Paul Spaventa, Interim Superintendent for Pemberton Township Schools. Today, I'm here to share our decision regarding the resumption of our hybrid learning program. While we had set the tentative date of February 1st to resume, present circumstances require us to push that start date to March 1st. I know many parents of hybrid students will be disappointed, and some of you will be angry. I understand that, because we want students back in our schools just as much as you do. But all across the country, the pandemic has brought teacher and substitute shortages to extreme levels. As spikes in infections and exposures require more and more staff members to quarantine, staff shortages are among the main reasons many schools have to shut down for in-person instruction. Unfortunately, Pemberton is no exception to this trend, and we are currently experiencing a high number of staff absences. In order to meet the instructional and safety protocols of our hybrid students, we need adequate numbers of teachers, aides, and support staff present in our schools. Without a sufficient number of staff in our buildings for classroom coverage, we simply cannot ensure student safety or provide students with the services and instruction they require. Also, in an effort to reduce the spread of infection, the Burlington County Department of Health has expanded some of their quarantine recommendations, which has resulted in a higher number of staff quarantine in some cases. While each case is handled individually, I'd like to show you an example of a recent case in one of our schools. Looking at the chart on the screen, you can see that the person in the middle, Staff A, they tested positive for COVID. All of the people around them, the students and the other teacher in the bottom left-hand corner, even though they have masks and even though they are 6 feet apart, since they have been exposed for more than 30 minutes, they must also quarantine for 14 days. If you look at the top right-hand corner, you'll see that that student has now attended other classes before quarantining, and all students in that class must quarantine as well. Down in the bottom, there's a teacher in blue. That staff must quarantine for 14 days, and they tested positive on day 2. So therefore, they must quarantine all of the students that they have met with in their classes 5 and 6. So as you can see, exponentially, this is a problem in our district and in all classrooms that we have to follow the quarantining protocol. Along with the shortage of substitutes and a number of staff members on leaves, we simply do not have the staff coverage to bring hybrid students back into the buildings at this time. However, as in the past, this decision does not affect students in highly specialized programs who will continue attending in person 5 days a week. I know this has been a difficult 11 months for everyone, but we remain optimistic that our hybrid students will return in person in the coming weeks on March 1st. It is our hope that with a downward trend in positivity rates and a broad distribution of vaccines, we will be able to adequately staff our schools at that time. Until then, please know that we will continue to provide quality instruction and support our students remotely. And if you have any concerns regarding your child's progress, please contact your school principal. Even during these trying days, our mission remains the same: to pursue excellence one child at a time. Before I close, I want to remind you that on February 1st, Mr. Jeffrey Havers will begin his role as our new superintendent. I will be interviewing Mr. Havers next week on Inside Outlook, and I encourage you to tune in to learn more about him and his vision for our district. I want to remind everyone to follow all COVID protocols, including wearing a mask, social distancing, and washing hands often. That's our show for today. Until next time, stay safe.